Why you should hire a realtor, not FSBO, when it is a seller's market. That's our topic today. We'll get started right after this. Hi, I'm Kim Ward. I am a certified probate real estate advisor. I am a broker, a real estate broker here in San Diego, California. And what my team and I do is we specialize in helping with homes in an estate, either a California probate or a California trust administration. In a seller's market, some executors, administrators, or trustees might be tempted to sell their loved one's home that's in a California probate or trust administration. They might try to sell it on their own. This is known as a for sale by owner, or FSBO, FSBO. They may choose to consider doing a FSBO instead of hiring a professional to help them through the entire process. When the inventory of available homes for sale here in California are low, as it is in today's market, buyers are very eager to snatch up homes. And they're eager to snatch up just about any home that comes on the market, including a property that's in a California probate. This can make it even more tempting to consider doing a for sale by owner sale. As a result, some people, some executors, administrators, or trustees may think it's a breeze to sell a property in the current market. And they then consider that opportunity translates into doing it themselves without any representation as a FSBO. But let's unpack why that course of action could be a huge mistake and what implications it can have on the California probate or trust administration here in California. Because making a mistake can actually cost you a whole lot more in the long run. According to the profile published by the National Associations of Realtors concerning buyers and sellers, a full 41% of people that attempted a FSBO, the reason that they did it was to avoid paying commissions, the realtor fees. And that's understandable. Even in a seller's market though, selling a house without a realtor, believe it or not, selling on your own typically translates into actually earning less for the California probate or trust administration. So the whole thought of selling without having to pay real estate commissions may not be your best option. Let me just tell you a quick story. Years ago, I was contacted by a seller that wanted to sell on his own. He did not want to pay for a listing agent's commission. Now, I just happened to have a buyer that wanted to buy in that particular complex, so I talked to the seller and he was willing to go ahead and pay me for the buyer's side of the commission. So I did a quick contract up with him that said that I was representing my buyer and that he would pay me X percent. Can't even remember how much the commission was at that point. And he agreed to that. So I showed the condo to my client who loved it and we entered into a contract. Well, as it turned out, the seller thought the condo was 950 square feet, and it turned out that the condo was actually almost 1,200 square feet. So the seller was selling at the price of a 950 square foot house or a condo. And as the buyer's representation, I didn't realize that myself until we were under contract. And at that point, it was too late to let that seller know that he was actually selling that property for substantially less than he should have. Another issue to consider why you should hire a realtor is all the paperwork that needs to be completed accurately. When selling a California probate house, both the seller and the buyer should consider the documentation that needs to be completed properly. As an executor, administrator, or a trustee, you'll soon discover that there are specialized documentation that really needs to be taken care of, T's crossed, I's dotted, so that you're protected in the long run. As well as the documentation, there are specialized booklets that go from the seller to the buyer through their agents that make sure that everybody signs the documentation that they received and sent those booklets. Because when selling a California probate house, it's imperative that you and the estate are protected. When I represent a seller in a probate, a California probate or trust administration, I make sure that all the documentation goes back and forth properly, all the booklets are received, all the documents are signed by the buyer that they did receive the booklet, and this is how we protect the estate from future issues and possibly the buyers being able to come back even up to a few years later and possibly get funds from the estate for something that was not properly disclosed and signed off on. So as you can tell, the receipt of all of these signed documents and keeping them in a file properly is crucial. I want to share another quick story with you about a client, a potential client that I met with a few years ago. Sandra and I had an initial consultation, and she chose to go ahead and just sell the property on her own as a FSBO. Of course, when I met with her for the initial consultation, I shared with her all the knowledge and what she was going to need to do to get the property properly prepared, marketed, and sold. But she chose the FSBO route. 6 months later, Sandra calls me up and says, I've got a problem. The buyer is coming back saying that we did not disclose standing water in the sidewalks and the patio around the home. What should I do? Well, because she chose that for sale by owner course of action, there wasn't anything that I could do to help her because she hadn't had the proper paperwork to disclose those facts. She didn't even know she needed to disclose something like standing water. So as it turned out, Sandra shared with me that it did cost tens of thousands of dollars because she had to then pay to have all that concrete removed and resurfaced, and all kinds of things happened because the buyer was suing her. So again, Sandra didn't know that when she was involved with a California probate of her mother's home, that she needed to disclose that particular fact, and it did cause her a lot of stress and cost down the road. It's important that you know that the National Association of Realtors, or NAR, they actually report that FSBOs sell for substantially less than when someone hires a realtor to help them through the process. The national data states that FSBOs sell for approximately 25% less. That's a huge amount less. And I think it's because of cases like I was sharing about the seller of the condo, that he just didn't know what he didn't know. The National Association of Realtors also stated in an article that when the seller actually knew the buyer, the sales amount was even lower. With probate and sometimes a trust administration, much of the time the seller will say to me, hey, the neighbor's interested in buying the house. And I say, well, that's great, but it's still important that we put it on the multiple listing service so that the home is exposed to all buyers. And I have to tell you, after doing this roughly 20 years, never has a neighbor or a friend purchased any of the properties that I've helped with in a California probate or trust administration. And you know why? Because they want to purchase the property for substantially less than what the property is worth on the open market. So what happens is the neighbors find out that a family member has died, and of course the family wants to sell the probate property as quickly and as efficiently as possible in most cases, and they consider the neighbor. But like I said, that isn't your best buyer, never has been in roughly 20 years. So as you're starting to see is that when you hire a realtor to help you with a California probate house, you'll sell the house for far more than what the commissions and the other fees. You'll earn much more on the sale, plus it will be simpler for you as an executor, administrator, or trustee through that selling process generally than if you would sell on your own. You're going to save because the commissions and the other fees, which you're going to pay anyway, such as escrow, title, transfer tax fees here in San Diego, and a bunch of other fees, those you will no matter what on the sale of a property be paying. The only thing that you think you'll be saving is the commission, but according to the National Association of Realtors, you're not really saving. You're ended up losing because you don't have all the information and you don't have someone to help lead, guide, and protect you through the entire process. So the bottom line is, if you're ready to begin the process of selling a California probate house or a house in a trust administration, and you're considering doing it on your own or selling directly to an investor, be sure to think about that very carefully, because the odds are that you gain much more by working with a professional person, hopefully a certified probate real estate advisor that has the knowledge and the experience to get you from where you are to where you want to be safely and on time, so to speak. So let's connect and talk about how a trusted advisor can help you through this entire process, especially in today's strong sellers market. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, hit that bell button, and subscribe to the channel so that the algorithm knows to share this with others like you. Have a good week. See you next week.